That's right. You're live. Wait. Let's double check. Hit the Patreon page. Make sure that we're live. For real, for real. I hit refresh. Refresh. Middle. Right here. Hit play. And let's see, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the video. Watch this video on YouTube. See if that's working now. And that's working. So now do me a favor. Take. Okay, I got it. Share. Ooh. Share. Copy. And then. Uh, quick edit. Okay, let me do it there.
Oh, you reshared the link.
Yeah, instead of
It's still not working.
people that's on it can probably go this phone changes to me right now. All right, why are you not working? Live stream. YouTube live. YouTube live. Start unlisted live stream. We did. Type in. Let's type in one more time. All that work for the gremlins.
To return, especially when we got it all up and running.
Honestly, hey, boom. It's still not gonna work. All right, let's see. Let's try it. But they can go. They can watch on YouTube.
They can watch it on YouTube.
Yep. Yeah. All right. So let's just tell everybody to go to YouTube.
You just click on the link.
This is why we need to do this first. They go to the. See? Idea. But we're going. We're good and we're up and going, and we will give some time for the good folk.
You should be able to. They live chat on YouTube too, or are they on live chat on Patreon?
That's a great question.
Shot over there, it looks like.
Well, you probably pull up the Patreon page.
On the right side, it looks like a shot.
Now, so people watching and joining on.
Well, you know, you got.
There's a chat right there though. Right underneath that arrow.
We see and hear you clearly, Arrow. Hey, thank you. This is the Bronx. Welcome to the Gremlins. I don't even know if we want to watch that part because that's going to be two. So, can you tell me if I'm too loud for you? Those that are on YouTube page. Stephanie says she's checking her audio because she can't hear a thing, but you should be able to hear a thing. That is a monstrous delay. Got it. Checking her audio because she can't hear a thing, but you should be able to hear a thing. It sounds good, though. Oh, sure. It does sound good. All right, let's turn the sound off. All right, we're going to wait for a couple more people to join in. I actually can see from my phone, so I think I'm going to change it off of this so that we can kind of just rock and roll. I have Aaron to my right, your left, and Demo Macklin behind me somewhere on the chair. So we have been working probably for the last 7 hours on trying to get this figured out so we can live stream and mix. Play your keyboard, good sir. Let's get a little bit more of that. A little more. One, two, one, two, one, two, one, two. What you could do is you have Patreon. You sign on, use your earbuds. Yes. Until you leave, and if you need to roll out, feel free to. All right, we're going to talk about songwriting, but I just had to wait till we got this thing up and running. I think we're good. We're going to make sure Stephanie is straight, too. There's an echo. I have effects on. I'm sorry. I'm going to turn it off. One, two. See? Ba, 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 ba. I like a little sexiness to get a little echo. Wah. See, that's way too much, right? Wah, da, 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 da. All right. No, sounds good to me. Michelle's in. William, Deborah, T. Nisi? Walter Beasley, what's up, Walter? This is the Bronx, New York, was the first on. Amber, is it still too much echo for you guys, or you guys good? Somebody say something at the bottom, and then we're gonna rock and roll. So before, yes, too much. So I heard it that time. Too much echo. All right. So what I'll do is when I start singing, maybe I'll turn a little echo on and give me a little sexiness. So we are doing a Process Online Songwriting Workshop with you guys today, and you guys asked a couple of questions, which I really appreciated. I'm going to go back to answer those questions. What we're going to do is we're going to do 1 solid hour of a songwriting workshop today, and then what I would like to do is I probably am going to do this probably every 3 weeks or every 2 weeks or something like that, where we're just going to bring up a subject of songwriting, break it down, because truth be told, we can't go through like every single thing in songwriting. But what we can do is we can really touch on a couple of things, answer some of your questions and concerns, because some of you guys have business questions, and then we can get into some core like principles of songwriting and stuff like that. What I want to do is I want to start it with a warm-up. I'll explain it as well to Aaron as well as we go into it. The same way that you could warm up your body before you go jogging, the same way Aaron may warm up his fingers before he plays keyboards, in the same way a singer can warm up their voice before they're singing. I want to warm up our minds to connect words, right? So the first thing is just a rhyming exercise. I'm going to have Aaron play a key and play a certain rhythm. It could be just, bang, dang, 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 boom, dang, dang, whatever you want to play or something like that. And then what it's going to be is I'm going to demonstrate to you on exactly how we'll do a warm-up rhyming exercise. Not every song has to rhyme, but at the same time, it is a necessary tool that you should become very comfortable with so that part becomes second nature in the time when you're trying to create. So Aaron, if you can start something, just a certain thing that really I can keep rhythm with, and then we'll show you the rhythm warm-up exercise. I'm gonna stay regular 4/4 though. Okay, one. Okay, I got you. Cable, stable, able, mic, like, ceiling, healing, floor, more, piano, soprano, singing, thinging, bringing, blinging, with gold chains, explain, maintain, mind frame, song I sing with swiftness, give this to you out of the blue, who you, hot you. So you get it, it's an idea of just a rhyming exercise. So what I want to do is this exercise to you, for those that are listening. I'll say a word, and on that same rhythm we're going 3, 4. I'm going to say a word, and on the next time you say a word, then I'll say a word. You have to rhyme with it. So obviously, you guys are in cyber world. So what it would be if I say, camera, encyclopedia. So you say your word like that. And we're just going to exercise our brain. So give you an example. So if I said, encyclopedia, social media, camera, stamina, wall, tall, mixer, fixer, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, you got it? Okay. So this for you. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Dope, black, rider, camera, turn me up, louder, chowder, soup, salad, speaker, balloon, freeway, typing, you wrote down, so, big time, oh I shine, Avery, dwelling, gospel, colossal, orange is a hard word to rhyme, let's see what you do, apple, plum, Brooklyn, Bronx, Harlem, Staten Island, and we freestyling. I think we're done, 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 done. How'd you do with that? Type in and let me know how you did with that. So that's just the warm up. So what I would tell you is, as a songwriter for years, I walked around, and just as I walked through the streets of Howard University or New York or wherever I was at, if I saw something, I would just traffic light, late at night, car passing, oh, I got gas in. It's just constantly practicing it so that it becomes second nature. The one rule if we have rules, is that we practice our craft till it becomes invisible, so that when the idea of a song comes, that we can naturally trust it and bring it to some tangible place. So I want to talk about something. I have an outline written down. Hold on a second. Let me go to my computer over here.
While you're doing that, Roberson, turn down the keys just a bit. They were a little loud on the broadcast.
Turn down the keys just a bit. Play the keys a little bit, Aaron. Let's see what. 1, 2. Far down. I think that's cool. Okay. All right, let me go to my outline just so I can make sure I have some things. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about, and I'm gonna get to your questions. You guys answer questions, and actually, somebody actually even submitted a song. And if we figure out how to work these gremlins, we will play that as well, and give an online critique, which is what he asked to do. I want to break down just basic character development. If you want to think of the simple aspect of how songwriting is broke down, to me, a singer is just an actor or an actress, right? And the lyrics are the script. Think of it in everything you do, whether writing a book, writing an essay, writing a play, writing a movie, writing a poem, writing a song. It's all the same breakdown except for different rules of structure, right? So, of course, with song, you have melody and you have rhythm that you have to abide to. Poem, you have somewhat of a rhythm, but obviously with say plays, you have nothing whatsoever of keeping a structure from that standpoint of rhythm, but you will have a structure in storyline. So if you apply the same storyline, for me it's this. The music describes the scenery of what is going on. You could pretty much, if someone gives me a track or if I'm working on something, first of all, I'm trying to paint a picture musically that says, am I outside or am I inside? Is it a sad moment? Is it a happy moment? Are we in the club getting it popping? Or are we in a bedroom and it's dark and we're making love? Or we're in a bedroom and it's dark and we're breaking up? Are we on the bus headed to work? The music should symbolically represent that, in my opinion. If I was to tell Aaron, Aaron, give me something that represents a summer day walking down the park, what would you necessarily play? I see the thing is moving, so I don't know if you're getting sound right now. You're not getting sound? You are getting sound? Not getting sound. Gremlins of all form and fashion. We'll demonstrate that in a second once he gets sound back up. I saw that little parachute thing moving. I said, oh, yeah, something's frozen over there. So when someone sends me a track, the first thing I do is say, where's the track? What is it telling me? Is it telling me that I'm outside? Is it telling me I'm inside? What does it feel like? So the same way that my band will tell you, if I'm singing a sad song, the band should be sad. The bass player should be sad. I shouldn't be singing Emotional Roller Coaster and the bass player behind me smiling. Yeah. It doesn't work that way. We all need to be of the same connection. Can you do me a favor? Can you turn that air off? Brother Mac, can you turn that air, turn it off, the air off? Yeah, just hit the mode thing, yeah, because this vent is blasting on my forehead. Oh, you got sound? Okay, so once again, if you were playing something that represented walking on a park on a summer day, what comes to mind in playing something, putting him on the spot to do that? So now Aaron sent me this track. The first thing I'm listening to is going, it's happy. Okay, it's happy. So then from there I go, okay, who am I in that, right? So the first thing you should do is listen to what the track is telling you. A lot of times the song is already in there. So if it's someone walking on a summer day, now we go deep down inside of who that person is. The more we define, right? The music sets the scenery. Is it summer? Is it winter? Is it fall? Am I outside? We're outside. We're in a park. Okay, now who is the person? Is it male? Is it female? What are they searching for? What are they looking for? Are they walking by themselves? If they're walking by themselves, that's one choice. Are they walking with someone? Well, who is that person with them? Here's a whole nother door that opens up creatively. The more you define the character, the more you define the direction that you're going in, right? You're a songwriter, you're a writer, so you know how to write magic. You know how to bring out special, amazing, beautiful things, right? So the main thing is for you to find it, but the more you define it, the more it's clear. So, okay, it's a guy, summer day, he's walking, and at the same time now he's walking with someone. Who is that person? Clearly the love of his life. How long has he known her? Once again, opens the door of different things. They say they just met. It's been a week. And he doesn't want to move too fast, right? Have they kissed yet? Have they made love yet? Has she cooked dinner yet? Has he met her mom yet? All these things will give you avenues on things that you can do that where you turn, right? And then from there is where you find your magic. Now, a lot of times, once again, like I said, the music, the song will be hidden into the music. Now, mind you, I've never heard this, what Aaron is playing right now. We're creating this right now on the spot. And I'm not really showing you a song of improv. Improv and songwriting is still very similar to characters. What I'm telling you is the art of listening first. Taking your time. It's the same thing of like chewing your food slow. That bacon cheeseburger has certain flavors that you will enjoy more if you just take a minute and say, let me just really chew on this for a second. So what I'm doing is I'm listening to all the stuff that's embodied in this idea he has and this feeling. The first thing I'm thinking of is what melodies that already exist in there, right? So I like this. I like that a lot, right? So am I going to apply that to something? Every time that I see your face and I smile, I never want to erase it. Let's stay a while. I don't want to be complacent. No, I hope that all the kisses that you're placing will land on me. So you have those, you're listening to it, where's the melodies inside the song? Before I even go anything that conflicts with it, anything I move against it, I'm trying to find what's in it already. I've already told you from a line standpoint, the choices of defining the character is all based off of the more I define certain, the more doors open, my decision making. I want to get it to where my decision making is tunnel vision. He's walking with a girl. He's holding hands. They just met. It's been a week. They haven't made love. They've just kissed for the first time. He hasn't met her mom. He hasn't met his dad, her dad. He's nervous about it. All those different things. And that's going to put in the lines, right? And from there, can't wait to share 100 summers with you, girl. Can't wait to share 50 summers with you, baby. When I met you, I just smiled. Feels like years, girl. I can't imagine having a child, babe. Stop me if I'm moving too fast. I hope we can stay here forever, baby. You make me feel like we are good, yeah. I hope you place your kisses on me, baby. I hope that this is not misunderstood. Oh yeah, right, good. You go, Aaron. So that is one example. Once again, we define the character, the music. The music defines the scenery. So the same way we're saying, all right, if we were in a club, Brother Aaron, I'm putting him on the spot. He sent me a track, and we was in the club. And he just got a promotion. We getting it popping. As soon as I hear the track, it's the same applying. One of my favorite songs of a perfectly written song is you don't have to play this song. You still go on that idea. Is T-Pain's "Buy You a Drink." You can go into that example. Yeah. Because he doesn't have to say much, right? It's already defined. He's a drunk guy in the club trying to bring a stripper home. What else did it say but, yo, I got money. Can I take you home? It's a perfectly written song because the character is completely defined. Once again, the music defines the scenery, right? And then from there, we get our choices. So mind you, okay, track we indoors. We in the club. We in a strip club. I got a pocket full of money. But then here comes the choices. Am I by myself? Am I with my crew? Am I with my lady? Right? And then all those things open up things. So, okay, let's say I'm by myself. Right? With this dancer in front of me and a plate of chicken wings. Question once again, am I happy? Am I sad? All these open doors we have that we can figure out all. So from there, we can define all the characters, what directions we go, right? So immediately, he gives me this energy, this feeling. I think I'm about to spend my money on you tonight. Hey, hey. I spend it on you, baby, if you treat me right. My car is parked outside, what you dealing with? Trying to give you enough money for you to stop the strip. Hey, 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 hey. Now me and you getting popping. I see your clothes been dropping. I think money just dropping. I think my food been dropping. My chicken wings is good. Oh, don't taste like no wood. I like them tell the song about. And we're gonna go not through a drought. Now just got paid on Friday. I'm spending it all on you. Spending it all on you. I spend it all on you. Girl, I got my money on Friday. Let me spend it all on you. Let me spend it all on you. Let me spend it all on you. Cause my girl be tripping, yeah. My girl be tripping, yeah. My girl be tripping, yeah. Let me spend it all on you. 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 Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. All right, we good. We good. So you get an idea. What I say is that a lot of times when you sit down and just take a minute and listen, the song already exists. The song is already there. So we say the song is merely a script. Hold on, wait. The song is merely a script. The music is merely a scenery. And the singer is pretty much the actor, actress trying to exist and break it down. So one of the things I want to talk about before we get into, like I said, each time we do this, we'll break down some kind of idea. But I want to give you one example of how you can write into certain things. And one of the ideas is crunching syllables. So a lot of times in my history, like say a song like Pen Just Cries Away. Pen Just Cries Away was a full out poem that I wrote. And then I had to make it fit to a beat. And I remember I was writing a poem. It was a really sad day. I was really disappointed in something. And I remember as I was writing the poem, I was like, I want to listen to some music while I'm writing it. And inevitably, the track I put on was a track by Kev Brown, and it was that beat. And the beat just really sounded good to me. And from there, I started changing certain lines to make it fit into the beat and the melody that I started to hear. So with songs, like let's say when the winter came, you were not around, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So you have 5 syllables to work with, right? So when the winter came, you were not around. So now you can't say, when I was putting on my coat come wintertime, because that's a lot. When I put on my coat come winter time, that's 10 syllables. Can't make it all fit, right? So you got to figure out ways to make certain things you got to be satisfied with certain things falling on the cutting room floor, because you still want to get your point across, but you also want to be respectful to the melody that you hear or the rhythm that you hear inside the music. So if the syllable is when the winter came, you were not around, right? If we give whatever line, I want someone in the comments to type in a sentence, and we're going to chop that sentence up into 5-syllable parts. And I can almost look at letting the music tell you what it's filled with. Letting the music tell you what it's filled. Michelle Williams just said, and we'll see if someone else says it, but we might just use that as an example. So crunching syllables is pretty much understanding how many syllables you have in your melody. Every song, I'm going down, boom, doom, doom, I'm going down, doom, doom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, down, 2, 3. So there's clearly songs where like if you look at Elton John has a lyric partner. If no one has known, the name escapes me who his lyric partner was. And every song that you listen to from Elton John, he has given a piano part and a melody, and that lyricist has put lyrics to that melody line that he's given. So you have to understand the syllables. So sometimes you're going to have to add words. I got somebody said something. I take it all back. Now that I am paid, you think that I'm a clown. Now that I'm paid, you think that. Now that I'm paid, you think that I'm a clown. Walter Beasley, what you going through? Please leave the man you're with. Wow, that's gangster. This is Bronx. I'll take it all back. All right, we're gonna use some of this stuff. So pretty much, if we're going through the theory of what's that song? Where were you when I needed you last winter? Right? Can you give me the chords that when the winter came, you were not around. We're just gonna play this idea because that's a simple idea of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Huh? What is it? Where were you when I needed you last winter? It doesn't have to be that one. It could just be something where we have a basic syllable. Even if you want to play a melody, and I'll follow the melody and we'll break it down. Oh, y'all coming in now. Purses, keys, stilettos on the ground. Jesus, what? Y'all give me subjects? He clearly didn't turn this air off because this thing is still blazing on my neck. Yeah, and just stay right there. Okay, not doing that. So if, let's see, what was that line at? Please leave your man you're with. Please leave the man you're with. This is pretty much easy, right? Because you gave me 6. So please leave the man you're with. My first idea would, I'll just say please or take out. Leave the man you're with. Right? So I can't go, please leave the man with, it doesn't work. Right? So instead of say, please leave the man you're with, I might say, leave the man you're with. He's not good for you. Leave the man you're with. Now the struggle is, man, I let go of the word please. Please was important because please adds a level of begging, right? Once again, all the choices we make in songwriting. So if I don't want to get rid of please, right? If I say, please leave the man you're with, that's 6. Maybe I'll go, please leave who you're with. That's 5. It's ignorant. Right? Somebody go, baby, don't you know? Please leave who you're with. He's not good for you. Please leave who you're with. I'm the one who loves you. Please leave who you're with. Please leave who you're with. Please leave who you're with. Counting syllables to make it all fit. He gave me once was 6, but now please leave who you're with. 'Cause I'm the best for you. I wanna give you more. So much there in store. Girl, I know I'm sure. 'Cause I need you to. Please leave who you're with. Counting syllables. Please leave who you're with. Tiffany said, he would let you down. He's nothing but a clown. Y'all right in the song. Please don't let you down. So it's all about that. So you can stop for a second. So it's all about crunching syllables. When you get an idea, and what I'm going to pause this idea. I'm going to come back to this because it's a very important thing that I keep skipping over. And the thing is, you need to treat the song as if it already exists. This is something, if I could tell my younger self, you should treat the idea, the art that you are creating, like it is already finished. It is just your job to bring it to completion. Which that means, one, you have to trust the process, which you're going to hear me say almost every single time we sit in front of these cameras. You have to trust the process. But two, you should also not be filled with doubt. Doubt should not be included into the process of getting towards completion. Doesn't mean that it's still not going to be hard. Doesn't mean that you don't have to overthink. Doesn't mean I have to pull out a pad and pen and really crunch lines or really add in some things or really define the character. But while working very, very hard, while getting my elbows dirty, while really, really struggling over lines connecting, at no point should I be doubting that this can't be finished. So what happens with that is while all of the struggle, while all the craziness is happening, I'm still focused on completion. Doesn't mean it's just, it's just going to flow off my tongue. It should be perfectly simple. No, it doesn't mean it has to be easy. And plenty of times they can vouch that I spend hours, days in this room working on one song. Some songs come 5 minutes. Some songs take 5 years. I give the example all the time that Pretty Girl was a song that took like probably 5+ years because all the idea wasn't there. And almost every single time I went into the studio, I tried to write that song almost every day for 5 years. Every time I sat down. And you got to think that I wrote that beginning of the song the same time I wrote When Love Calls, which was on the Vault Volume 1, which is 2003. We then put out the Vault Volume 1.5. I still don't have it finished. We put out the Appetizer. I still don't have it finished. And by the time we put out the live DVD and then put out Left, almost at the end of Left was when I finally heard the rest of Pretty Girl and was able to finish it. But at no point during all those years did I think of going, man, I ain't never going to finish this joint. Never. Doesn't mean the work doesn't happen. Doesn't mean you don't have to read or research so that you become more educated in what you're trying to write about or have to see and observe. I say that to go back to what we were just talking about. So while you're crunching syllables, sometimes it's going to be difficult. Sometimes it's going to be tough. Sometimes it's going to take more research. Sometimes it's going to take a break, really write some things down so that you can figure out how to add more to that melody or, I cannot stick with this melody. Doesn't mean you need to give up on that melody because that melody was beautiful and it was your first initial idea. And 9 times out of 10, your first idea was a true idea. So work hard to stay on that. If that means you have to sacrifice a word or two to make it fit in this melody, you do so. But at no point should you ever think that you can't get it done. Deal? Okay, let me take 1 second. Let me just kind of check. I just want to make sure. All right, so real quick, we're at 9:41. We had a couple of questions. I'm going to go out of this for a quick second. We have a couple of questions that that people asked on the last thing, and I want to make sure I answer those questions. And like I said, each time we get together, a lot of times we'll hopefully have our good friend Aaron. I appreciate him traveling all the way up from Washington, D.C. to come do this with us tonight. And sometimes it might just be me chilling, but we're going to have a good time and really dig into this. But I want to try to find, okay, I want to make sure I answer, because a lot of you guys asked some questions. So we'll give the second half to this. Let's start with the top. I can write poetry all day long, but for the life of me, I cannot write to a cadence outside of the downbeat of the kick drum in my tracks. And it further limits me in the freedom of coming up with lyrics. Frustrated. That's from Brother Friday. All right, so the first thing I would say is one I know you do tracks first and foremost. So I would first say try different sources. So if your mind from a singing standpoint comes from one cadence, maybe like a keyboard solo will give you a different cadence. But at the same time, a lot of it just starts with like, just give me something so I can give an example of this, and we'll count it down. So if you don't hear something naturally, or let's say, of course it's 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. I want you to see me day. Right? We don't want to do that. We want to stay on a 3, 4. So maybe I'm gonna start on 3. Right? 1, 2, 3 is when I'm gonna start, and we're gonna force that my ideas come, and we're just gonna base it off of. And then after that, I'll give you an example of maybe on the and. So right here. When I saw you, you were the one, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. When I saw you, you were the one. Now I'm gonna give an example of. Now we're gonna do it on 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. When I know I wanna apologize, you the one I see in your eyes. That was coming on the 2. So maybe you have to force yourself to say, I'm going to select, predetermine where I'm coming in at. So let's say if it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Let's say we're gonna come in on the and after the 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2. When I know I knew it, you were in my way. I tried, but I blew it. You make me just stay. We know lines on fade. So what you can do is you can easily document. So okay, sometimes let's predetermine. We're going, you know what, I'm going to start the song on the end of the 2. My next line is going to be on the 3. Now, I know I'm getting way advanced, but I believe Friday's sticking with me. So if it's going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, the first line is going to be on the and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. That's where we're going to come. But the second line is going to be on 3, right, which is 1, 2, 3. Right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. I saw you and you knew it. 1 and 2. You know I can make through. You see? So sometimes you can show up. So sometimes if you're struggling, that every time you come in, there's a cadence that you're naturally singing that you don't want to, sometimes predetermine where you're coming in at. Break down the things, break down the ands, break down the ones. If you feel like you're being just enormously repetitive in your approach and everything, so you know what then? I'm going to come in on the 4. Before you write anything, before you put a melody, I'm coming in on the 4. I'm going to design it on that. Or I'm going to come in on the and of the 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and. So did you just change everything up? That was probably the best thing I would tell you. Like if you're naturally presetting things, then just maybe change it and say, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and just put it in already where I'm coming in at, and then base it off of there. And then, because the best way I would describe it, and I hate to always give sports references. Do you ever see like that's not a good reference. A lot of times I like to find myself getting lost. Like if you did a riff and you got lost, or a piano solo, getting lost because finding your way back to where you need to be at, there's a lot of magic in that area that you usually wouldn't go to if you didn't get lost in the first place. So if you predetermine, like you're dropping breadcrumbs, like I'm starting here, finding your way back is going to give you an area or a lane that you probably wouldn't have chosen. And that's probably my answer for you, Friday. Shout out. Friday always gives a lot of times gives a word of encouragement in the community page on Fridays. You guys should check it out. That's why I call him Friday. So Kevin and Brian both said, I may be in the minority, but I would love a song placement workshop. But I'm looking forward to this. And then Brian chimed in on that. Said, just to build on this, I'd love a discussion around the business of placing songs. What money arrangements are most common when you do agree to give up publishing, composer credits? What should you be charging up front? All right, Brian, etc. Seems like R&B can be a different world on a lot of these fronts. What I would say is this is very. I want to make sure I'm just see where, because you guys are rocking on here. This is like really, really in depth. I mean, so if you do not know, I now teach at Berkeley. I'm catching a flight in like less than 12 hours to fly there, and I teach 3 classes. One of the classes is a business or songwriting class, and we talk a lot about this. And I almost want to say that I'll give a quick answer for this right now, but yet this is something we're going to really chew on. Like this is probably one of those times we can really, really have a full out just business conversation. So I want to first start with, I may be in the minority, but I would love a song placement workshop. The first question I would ask is, are you a songwriter or are you a producer? Because those 2 different things. And production has changed drastically over the years. Maybe Aaron can show where like now you have just the cost of production has lowered, and now a lot of guys will almost lease out beats or just online give almost like beat packs now. There's like a whole new avenue. Songwriting is tough because there's really not any artists signed to any major labels anymore. And in our movement, which is one of the mistakes, in my opinion, of independent music, is that most people believe that they should be writing their own songs. And I think that's not always the case. As well as most people shouldn't be producing their own vocals. Most people shouldn't be producing their own music. It's like it really should still be ran like a label. And if your strong point isn't songwriting, you should look for other songs. Sure, the royalty rates may not be as high as if you landed something on Beyonce, but it's still rates, it's still money, it's still stuff to have. So the main part of song placements, I would say start right and left of you. If you don't have a track record already, I would start writing with friends. And if I go back to saying in my songwriting days, sure, I ran into 112 at a studio and played a song for him on guitar, and it led to landing a song on the second album, and had plenty of situations like that where I met with an A&R, and that led to landing songs on Case or working with Joe or other things. But a lot of my success was just working with friends. While I was trying to get a record on Usher, while I was trying to get a record on Mary J. Blige, I was working with Jill Scott, and I was working with Vivian Green, who are household names now, Music Soul Child. But at the time, they were people who caught the bus to the studio or to my bedroom studio I had at my parents' house, and we would put our money together to get pizza or chicken hoagies and all stuff like that or whatever, and we would share our dreams and our ideas, and that stuff came together. So first part of song placement, if you have not built a repertoire, is first start with the crew, because one, there's a good chance that you're going to blow up and you can open the door for them, or they're going to blow up and they can open the door for you, and it works both ways. To to answer the question of Brother Brian, love to discuss around the business of placing songs. What money arrangements are most common when you agree to give up publishing, composer credits? Okay, so I have had the situation. I don't, if it, I mean, if Beyonce asked me to give up some publishing on a song, I'm definitely doing it because she's gonna make me a millionaire just off of having a song with her. But I don't know if like the deacon at your church, if you're working on his album, you should give up publishing. Just doesn't necessarily make sense. So it has to be some level of like reason. Why are we giving up publishing, in my personal opinion? But at the same time, if I'm keeping it 100 with you, in the times that, being respectful, the times that artists have asked for publishing, and I and say the producer that I was working with um, did not agree to do it, that song most times did not make that album. And when I look back at it, that song never came out, and I never made any money off of it. I probably would have given it away. I mean, just off of principle, "Oh, I ain't going to give up publishing or whatever, this and that, this and that." I mean, it's all about working to get up, grow in this business. So you got to see where you're at in the business and where others are at in the business and what you're trying to really accomplish. But it's not, for me, a common practice that you should want to give up publishing or any like arrangement credits or composer credits. Would you like to chime in on any of that, Mr. Aaron?
Nah, but I'm right where you're at. I don't ever think that it's something that by default we should be giving up, because at the end of it all, even if it doesn't make an artist album, and you're a great example of it. There were songs that probably would have gone to other artists, but then that you decided to release yourself. So there's always another option. And to further the point of working with the crew, we always try to work up. But if we're working alongside other people that we're already familiar with, again, who's to say that the song that y'all came up with, that person doesn't decide to become the artist, and now they're interested in that because that's something that's near and dear to their heart as well. So they're going to push it in a whole different way. So fight for what you've created, what you have ownership of, and again, if it makes sense to move away from it because there's a better goal. Again, if it's a Beyonce, the notoriety off of that alone, even if you don't make a penny off of that one initial happening, your name being out there is now a whole different situation. So
Totally agree. And I just pressed the button to try to show off our new camera video thing because we haven't used the other camera, and I don't think it's changed yet. Or that really shows how delayed things are. But that's fine. Let's change back. So hopefully we answered a little. We can really dig in. And what I will tell you, Brian, is that yes, there's a drastic difference between. Look at that. The video makes it. It's a super delay, but that's not a story. It's like 5-minute delay. Like we already left and went home by the time you saw that. Anyway, that's not a story. Like country music, producer definition in country music is totally different than a producer definition in like R&B and hip hop. And though R&B and hip hop is being so infused in other music genres, now it's starting to blur the lines. But what you charge a lot of times will be based on what you're doing. If you're a track maker, first off, what you would charge, a lot of it will be, one, what will keep you consistently working and what people will take you serious on. So obviously, if you're just starting up, you can't say, "Oh, $5,000 a track," because no one's going to buy it. But at the same time, you're not going to say $50 because no one's going to take it serious, So I think you have to figure out that price point. I have no problem always talking business up front, and really people understanding what things are. Aaron would tell you that I have really done most of my albums on handshakes, and it's fine. And you know what you're supposed to get, know what's coming, whatever. It doesn't always have to be lawyers and paperwork, whatever. If you know people and you work with people, and hey, you know where I live, I know where you live. Let's work, let's get stuff done. But at the same time, it's no problem to talk business. Know what's unapologetically work off the business plans you have. If your business plan is $5,000, unapologetically work off of $5,000. If your business plan is 50,000, if your business plan is $50, unapologetically, and that's a thing I had to learn. I had to really learn that, because at first I was like, oh, I'm an independent artist. This person gets so much more. Man, and I'm trying to overcompensate. Let's say, oh man, this person gets so much more in production. So you know what? I'm not going to W-9 this person the 1,500 I paid them for a track. But yeah, now I'm gonna beat myself up in taxes because I didn't. Now I got to figure out where that I gotta claim that 50. I can't write off that 1,500 or whatever. You know what I mean? So unapologetically work on what business plan, and feel free to talk about what those numbers are gonna be. I think that's how it works. You want to add in?
As a producer now, what I'll say is the landscape has definitely changed in production terms. I always, when I'm getting into the production conversations, there was a point in time when Rodney Jerkins was making $1 million per track. Yep. And to even think of throwing that number out there as a possibility is completely impossible today, because somebody can go straight onto SoundCloud and probably get a song that they like just as much, $25, $50. So being realistic with everything, your price point, and again, even getting back to the conversation of ownership and publishing, production, all that, just be realistic with what that is, because now that everybody has a laptop and it's easy enough to go out to a Guitar Center and grab a keyboard, anybody can be a beat maker tomorrow. So you don't ever want to price yourself out of a situation for the sake of saying like, oh man, I need it at $2,000. I want for that one song. When there's a kid up the street who would happily make it for 100 and a Impossible Whopper. Don't price yourself out. Just always be realistic with where we're at technology wise, because that's driving a lot of what's happening. Even with the prices, you look at major studios now and how they have to kind of revamp their thing. The money that was floating around in the industry for certain things, that's not the case anymore. So, just be realistic with it.
Great point. And one thing to even add, if you look at the producer, and I read about this, and of course I don't know the guy's name, the guy who produced Old Town Road for Lil Nas X, I think he only charged like $200 to produce the song. Like he sold the beat to him for like $200, but yet he owned the publishing to the beat. So sure, he only, the word of the story, everyone's saying, oh, he only sold that beat for $200, but now he's a multi-millionaire because of the publishing of the song, and 50% of the publishing of the song. So, you got to look at the overall picture and what you're trying to do. And I'm sure that guy was on the come up, and he was probably trying to sell whatever beats he could, and he was selling them quite low and things of that nature, but things took off, and I bet you the beats he's selling right now, he's not selling for $250. I guarantee that. Some people ask some questions on there. I'm going to do my best to get to that, but we also want to keep it very tight and make sure we just consistently do this. So Troy, I see you said keep you updated on the video. Make sure if you have not seen, we've been able to change the camera. This is how we're doing stuff going forward. Now when we have sessions, I will have multiple cameras set up inside the studio so that the session you'll be able to see what I'm doing on the screens, as well as seeing what I'm able to do, as well as the audio will be mixed and coming to you directly. I'm really, really excited to have this piece. And we're also going to do the online concert using this, where we'll be able to mix the audio and have multiple cameras. So we'll be doing that real soon for you guys. I'm just really excited about that. Femi said, for you, what comes first, the beat or the words? It really depends. I'm constantly chasing ideas. Probably words come first most times, but it depends, because a lot of time. First of all, I'm one who will do a beat, but I'm more than likely I'm not doing the beat most times, right? And at the same time, with so many great producers such Aaron and Brett and them sending me music, I'm constantly hearing stuff over the music that they're sending me, as well as a lot of times, So for me, I don't think it should be any kind of rule. You should just be chasing a feeling, and then chasing completion after that feeling. Like when the feeling comes, let's get that completed, right? Because that's how we get to making money or how we get to advance, further on. If you just keep chasing an idea, it's just going to be an idea. But the goal should be getting that completed, you know. Um, Brian has a discussion on tips to help make collabs go smoothly. Collabs should go smoothly. Let me say that. Um, working on music is like marriages or like dating, you know what I mean? And you can disagree with somebody musically, but that should be able to work that out. But there also should be a chemistry, a vibe. Like, man, we work really well together. That person compliments certain things that I do, or they challenge me. Man, I'm not really that much of a up tempo writer, but this person's beats challenge me to get, push that element. And even like a producer like Jermaine Mobley, he and I wrote like previous cats and break it down off the Music Fan first album. We've had a lot of great records together, and me and Jermaine argue all the way through the session. It doesn't mean we don't want to work again together, but he sees a certain way, I see a certain way, and we're kind of bulldogs at it. And we're not like fist fighting, but it's clearly like some heavy debate. But I think we realize that the finished product is always better when we're both very outspoken and fighting for our passion. And sometimes he wins those arguments, and sometimes I win those arguments. But the songs work out. So collaboration doesn't have to be like necessarily when I say easy and oh man, we just sat together and 30 seconds later it just all came. No, but it should be a thing of like, man, things are actually coming together, coming together. If stuff's not coming together, I don't know how much you need to force that collab thing. I mean, networking is important, so maybe collaboration from that standpoint. I'll just make sure you keep the relationships healthy so that if certain things pop off, publishing deals or writing projects or whatever. But I tend to like to write with those where I just hear a lot of stuff in their music, and then it comes naturally. You want to chime in anywhere with that? Cool. That's the collab joint. Let's keep it moving. We're trying to rock and roll with the great questions that you guys asked. And like I said, I know you guys asked some stuff up there too. I've written, Iris said, I've written the lyrics to several songs and got them copywritten. I also joined BMI. What do I do to ensure that I own the publishing? Okay, so the first thing is that if you wrote something, once you create something, you actually already own the publishing. Believe it or not, that song is actually copywritten the moment that it becomes something tangible. Like let's say the first time you record something or whatever, it technically is copywritten. Now the difference is you can't sue somebody for stealing it unless you technically get it copywritten under the Library of Congress, right? But once you make something tangible, you then have the right to copy it, to get it copied or to sell copies of it. Once you signed up with BMI, you can register your songs, and at the same time, you can go to libraryofcongress.org and file in, what is it, .gov? .gov, I'm sorry, libraryofcongress.gov, G-O-V, and copyright your ideas. I'll tell you the first thing, I think it's $35 to copyright online. And what you can do is if the writers are all the same, let's say if me and Aaron sat down and wrote 10 songs and we split it 50-50, we can copyright all 10 songs at the same time for $35. The same price that we could just copyright one song if the splits are the same on all the songs. What we cannot do is we can't take 3 songs that we wrote evenly 50-50 and then one song that he wrote 100% on and copyright those all the same. That song will have to be copyrighted separately from those bulk. But you can, if it's by the same writers, if you just wrote a whole bunch of songs by yourself, you could technically get those songs copywritten all together for $35. But the best way to protect yourself, would go to Library of Congress.gov. But technically, the moment that you actually write it on a piece of paper or record it, it's technically copywritten. So you're kind of protected. But also remember that until you sign a publishing deal, and that's not what BMI or CSAC, BMI and CSAC and ASCAP collect performance rights of records. So like when a song plays on the radio or if it's playing inside Popeyes restaurant or whatever, they collect the royalties for how that song is performing in like terrestrial radio and stuff like that. But from the actual collection of like sales, the mechanical royalty of things, you are your own publisher until you sign a publishing deal. I remember I did it with the song 112. We go back to that. I remember probably a year and a half went by and I didn't receive anything. And finally I tracked down somebody there and they said, well, do you have a publishing deal? I said, no, I don't have a publishing deal. And they were like, well, sweetheart, you are your own publishing company and you need to write to us and say what you have and what we need to send to you. And I was like, when have I ever had to do that? But they were going to hold my money until I did it. And I got all the rest of the people to participate as well. And we were able to then get our money because we were our publishing deals and we were our own publishers. And we had to say, hey, that money is ours. We want to claim it and bring it to us. Not every label is that way, but some people will hold you to it, maybe because they want to hold on to it and collect interest. I'd love strategy on how to connect with other artists without seeming thirsty. I produce and write, but I struggle with letting the world know because I don't want to be annoying. Man, that's Derek Donaldson. So the one thing, Derek, I will tell you is that it comes down to completion once again, right? And you'll get the right feel. One, I would say that we should practice our craft. And I don't know anything of your music first and foremost, but you should practice your craft to where it can be the best it possibly can be, right? And if we get it to that point, then the relationships we build should naturally fit based on how well I do what I do, right? I'm a great top line writer. So Aaron may appreciate how I write lyrics and melody over his beats. So now Aaron wants me to write. But at the same point, I like the beats that he's taking, I like the melodies and what he creates. So I'm leaning out towards that. Networking should be something really, really natural. And if somebody's, being kind of Hollywood or whatever, man, it might not be the right thing. Outside of that, you should push the envelope because that's really what this whole business is about. I know so many people in the business who have had very successful careers because of how much they networked, not necessarily because how talented they were. But if you apply the two, like really, really dope, the crazy thing is that the people who are really, really dope most times are just staying in the basement and not sharing. And the moment that you kind of get out and share, the better the situation is going to be. And the best way I would tell you is like really also unapologetically push for your thing. My new thing I've been talking about lately is, and I'll try to keep this as short as possible, the Impossible Burger by Burger King that Aaron just mentioned. Burger King spent I'm just throwing out paraphrase numbers, $20 million on advertising this vegan burger that they're going to just aim out, right? Spent $20 million. It's going all over commercials, on all over TV, all over the place. And they know for a fact that 90% of viewers are not going to pay attention to this commercial. They're going to turn the TV. They're going to get up to go use the bathroom. They're going to talk through it. They have no interest in it whatsoever, right? And out of the 10% that actually watch it, probably maybe only 6% will probably pull into Burger King when they see it to get the vegan burger. 6%, maybe. The other 2% might go to McDonald's, The other 2%, they remember the commercial. Oh, that's an Impossible Burger. Maybe I'll try one day and never go, right? So, man, they're going to spend $20 million. $20 million knowing that 90% is not going to pay attention. 2% is probably going to go support somewhere else. 2 other people is not going to whatever. 6% might go through. They spent $20 million for 6%. You should never build your business plan on the 90% that's not going to support you. It makes no sense to waste that time. Your business plan, your hustle, if you're worried about it being annoying, the annoying side is for the people who are not going to support you, right? But somebody's going to dig your music. Somebody's going to rock with you. Somebody's going to want to collaborate with you. Somebody's going to want to work with you. So that effort that you put towards that percentage, which is unfortunately going to be a smaller percentage. If you saw 10 artists, producers, whatever, and you walked up and talked to all 10, 9 times out of 10, only 2 are going to probably really rock with you. Call back. Y'all might get in the studio, get some work done. And that's just unfortunate because everybody Hollywood. And this is whatever. Or they just got a lot of stuff going on their own. But at no point should I worry about the 8 that didn't rock with me. I'm going to focus on the 2 that want to get in the studio and get some work done. Best thing I can tell you. All right. Definitely looking forward to seeing this. I'm not a musician at all, but as a fan, I'm always been impressed by the creative process. Appreciate that, Michael. Brian, you did say live critique. We might be able to fit that in, but I know we're getting tight. Let me see. I'd love a workshop on form and groove and the process of making choices. When everything is possible, what do you choose? What stays and what goes? Jesus, Levi, what a great question. So there's several avenues I could, and this is an hour-long answer, right? The first part I want to say is when everything is possible, what do you choose? What stays and what goes? First off, the possible part, you should leave yourself open. We are the art of chasing goosebumps. That's the main rule. But the same way that like defining character sometimes can finalize certain things, because if you don't, you're going to go in so many directions. Before you know it, you've overproduced stuff, you've overwritten stuff, you just overdid it. And the more you can kind of fine tune, and you're talking about probably more from arranging and production thing, we can touch on as well. But the more you fine tune the character, the more it will break down the direction. Still be powerful, right? So let's say I'm walking on a park. Am I walking by myself, or am I walking holding hands with the love of my life? Either way I choose, it's still gonna be solid. What it does is it just cuts down the array of options. Still, if I'm walking by myself, okay, now what am I doing? I'm trying to get closer to tunnel vision so that my creativity is more of a bullseye effect. If not, it's a smorgasbord, and before I know it, it's all over the place, and we're probably not getting close to completion. The same thing it goes with production and arranging, and I'll maybe let Aaron touch on that as well. The one thing is like the art of hearing. To me, Jay Dilla was so amazing. His main gift, and he had so many gifts, but his main gift was knowing when a song was done. And sometimes he would just kick snare and a bass line, and it would feel so crazy, and he'd be like, I'm good. And how do you have that confidence to stop there, and not overdo it? You know what I'm saying? And sometimes a song feels so good that you just overdo it. It just, and rightfully so, just going whatever. But I think a lot of it is training your ear to trust and hear it like the final person would hear it. The consumer would hear it. That's really what a producer's job is. Like, it's funny how we say a drummer will listen to a song from a drummer perspective, and a singer will listen to a song from a singer perspective. So the drummer will listen, and the singer will be off key, and the drummer won't hear it. In the same way as the singer will listen, and the drummer will be playing out of pocket, and the singer won't hear it, because the singer's listening for like pitch and inflection and stuff like that, and the drummer's listening for like bottom and like rhythm. So how do you like train your ear to hear the finished picture when you're creating the picture? You know what I'm saying? You want to chime in on this, good sir?
Not to your, to the point. I think one of the things that I think sometimes we can get trapped in what we've heard music sound like. Sometimes, so it's in your mind. You think, yo, I grew up listening to Earth, Wind, and Fire. I need a horn section on this song in order for it to be complete, or I need an orchestra on this song in order for it to be complete. And if we dive too much into that, sometimes it's just overload. The really the dopest part of the question is the notion that everything is possible. And so there's a million different things that we could do at any given point. We could have this amazing arrangement where it's like, we did get the orchestra and we did get the horn section and we have all these live instruments, and it's like you get to the end of it and be like, what if I add this synth line? That'll be what throws it over the top. And honestly speaking, by that time, there's so much already going on that it's inconsequential, and realistically, most listeners aren't going to catch it. I feel like certain times, especially as producers, we're doing it for us. And to a degree, you have to like your work. You have to like what you're putting out, but you also have to be careful and make sure that you know, it's something that can translate to an audience and that you can kind of step aside and not be the biased person who's saying, you know, I want to hear this inside of my song, when by the time it gets to the public, you have no perspective on what that might be to another person, or to the audience in general. Um, Sometimes it's easy to, as a musician, I'll say this as well. Sometimes when we know other musicians are in the room, we play to the musicians, and it's just the thing that we do, because that's we want it to be special. We want our peers to respect what it is that we do, but you know, 95% of the audience is gonna miss whatever it is that you're trying to impress those few people who do actually understand it with. So it's, to me, it's always balance. You want to make it entertaining enough and interesting enough for yourself as well as the peers that you respect, and you want to show like, yo, this is what we've been working on. But you also want to make it palatable enough for the general listener who has no idea what's going on. They just know it feels good, or that one thing, I don't know what that thing was, but it sounded good to me. If you look under the comments for Kendrick Lamar's "To Pimp a Butterfly" album, there's so many people who don't even know what a saxophone is that it's amazing. They're like, yo, I don't know why is that thing keep on going off in the background. And I saw that comment so many times. And as musical as it is, and as historic, I mean, we've heard saxophone for decades and ages, centuries, really. How is it that you don't know what that is? But that speaks to this public who might not know, or who might not care even if they do know. So it's balance, and just being careful and knowing, like, yo, this is a cool point to stop at, and not feeling like you always have to add something else. Because if we do that, we'll be just the same as a D'Angelo or a Kurt Cobain, and we'll be looking at something years later like, well, we're on the 97th mix of this song, and I'm still waiting for it. And by the time that you do that, maybe it doesn't, maybe the song itself doesn't have the same relevance, or doesn't even feel to you the same way at that point. So balance is super important when it comes to that.
Touche. Oh, I'm about to change the camera angle. Oh, cameras, multiple GoPros. Holler at your boy. Cost me an arm and leg. Anyway, so I appreciate Aaron for adding such insight. So what I would say is two things. One, we're about to close out, but Brian sent me a song. What I would like to do, Brian, because I tried to find it in the email. What I think might be best, if you don't mind, Brian, you can tell me also through email. Is it fine if I post your song on the process and also give it a critique? If you are open to that, we can go that route. And anyone who would like to do that, I have no problem going down that avenue as well. I'll also do my best to take down the questions that we were not being able to keep up with on the actual live stream, and maybe answer that. But I think the last question we have on here is a great question to end this out with, and I'll start with that. But before I even ask the question, before I say the question, just appreciate everybody for joining in. And the process has been great. If you have not realized, we are in the middle of touring this Music Fan First tour, and there's very little time to create at the very second right now, because this week we have 4 shows. Next week we have 4 shows. No, next week we have 5 shows. And matter of fact, it might even be more, because I'm actually doing a wedding in between one of the shows as well. Not to mention also another day of teaching. And then the other days I'm literally buried by kids. But we will be getting in the studio. We'll be creating and doing some more music. So I appreciate the patience for you guys, being patient, and at the same time, the rollout for the LNS album to the public, you guys have had it, rocked it, probably got bored with it by now, but the public hasn't heard it, so we had to put together a marketing plan to really, and to put that album out to the world and stuff like that. So I appreciate everybody for just the love and support, and this has just been, a dream come true, really having a process with you guys. So let me get to this last question by Danielle, and she said, "Dang, wanted to see this live, but I'll be at the airport. Could you speak about songwriting and vulnerability, getting out of the way of getting out of your own way, and other related obstacles for those of us trying to muster up the courage to just write something from the heart, asking for a friend, LOL." If you do not know, I'm constantly preaching about the art of getting out of the way of yourself. And to me, that's the most thing. I mean, you know, we often may lie to others, we may often mistreat others, but we mostly lie to ourselves and we mostly mistreat ourselves. And you do a disservice to yourself when you don't hear the honest voice inside of you. I often tell people that, and I say this in my classes too. I say, you're not competing with the person sitting next to you. You're competing with yourself, more importantly. And you have to really you really have to take a minute and realize how important that is to you, how important is your message, how important is your thought, your idea, and truth be told, how important is your natural happiness. And if not, if anything, even just from freestyling on stage over the years, I try to be an example of a person willing to fail in front of people for the chance that we might make magic. And that's songwriting. You know, Aaron can attest that we probably, and now as an independent artist it may change, but really as a songwriter and as a producer, we probably get paid for about 10% of our work. I probably write 60 songs to land one. You know, he probably does 200 beats to land five. You know, and so that's constantly, you know, sending a song to somebody and them not responding at all. And it doesn't mean that they hated it. A lot of times it's just, they were busy. You know what I'm saying? And they were like, that was dope. And they just forgot to hit you back. But you got to find a way to keep pushing forward when majority of the time it's probably not going to be the reaction that you want. And that's just life. I mean, keeping it really 100. I was telling somebody the other day, I was laughing at some artist was doing a podcast and they were talking about how they bought their mom a house from the music they did, and their mom was still like, "But when are you gonna stop and get a real job?" He's like, "But Ma, I just bought you this house with like, at what point are you gonna see this as a real job?" And truth be told, I think what we do a lot of times is looked at like a hobby, but there's a lot of sacrifice that goes in it because a lot of it doesn't necessarily work. But you have to get out of the way of yourself to find what works, because truth be told, the only person who knows what works is God. So for me not to share an idea is for me not trusting God, like at the end of the day, because we don't know what's going to work and what does work. And you kind of have to find that place. I mean, it's almost like to fall in love, you're risking to get your heart broken. If you're going to play football, you're risking to get a concussion. If you're a skateboarder, you're probably going to break an arm at some point. If you work in stock market, you're probably going to lose some money at some point. I mean, in every aspect, there are some dangers you go in. And sure, so if you're going to go into the art of making music and selling music or getting on stage and performing, there's going to be a time where it's not going to work. It might be a period of time where it's not going to work, but you got to trust it and just keep fighting through it. And if you fight through it and you trust it, that connection comes back, the success comes back or whatever. So that's the main thing I would trust. Man, if it's you want to start a sock business or you want to write songs or you want to do spoken word, first start at it with the love that you have for it. Don't start at it like because you want to become, the next Ta-Nehisi Coates. Write just because you love writing and it makes you feel better. And then it may elevate to something better. But what you should not do is not do it because you're worried about something else that has nothing to do with you. And that's my main words. You want to end with anything, Brother Aaron? Close out with anything? Camera angle changes.
So, to piggyback on what Eric said, I think one of the things that we should always keep in mind is risk and reward are always proportionate. So you can't ever want the highest high without risking the lowest low. You mean like if I want to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, I also have to deal with the fact that if I'm trying to reach the top, or even if I do reach the top, there's still a chance that somehow I fall off the top of this thing and it's over. It's completely over. So that's I feel like that's some of the most important things that we apply to songwriting and production, music and art in general. Um, are also things that we should look at and apply in just regular, everyday, basic life. So if we want to risk it all, we're willing to gain it all, but we're also willing to lose it all. And if we can always keep that in mind, then, I think at the very least, when it comes to the vulnerability, we can kind of deal with the notion of, yeah, maybe this doesn't work this time, but if it does work this time, like now we're all the way up. And, you just got to, it's a game. We got to play it every day. So, be encouraged with whatever that is, and just know that, at some point, it'll all at the worst case, it'll always balance out somewhere. You'll find the balance, and you'll end up at your even state. But hey, man, there's always a chance that you end up way, way higher than what that is. So there's no point in not reaching for it.
Camera angles. Oh, new camera. Oh. So that's it, man. We're going to stop now. What I would say is you guys have been rocking this comment. I was just looking on my phone, and I promise to get to this stuff. If we do this, we're stopping at 1 o'clock in the morning, and that can't happen because I haven't even packed for a 4-show tour this weekend, and I have no idea what I'm wearing. But we so appreciate Aaron for driving up and hanging out with us. I'm sure he probably has 3 gigs tomorrow, and before we even leave for our shows. But want to take a time to say appreciate him. Shout out to Demo for literally sitting down and watching every video tutorial of trying to figure out how to get this work. It was crazy. So we have these 2 GoPros sitting here, Bing and Bong. And I have another one I lost inside the house. I have no idea where it's at. I got too many kids. But what's crazy was we got this new video mixer, and I had all these GoPros and nothing was working. And it's because everyone advised me what GoPros to buy, and it was the wrong GoPros. So nothing was working. So I had to literally return all that today, buy all new cameras, and we are up and rocking. But now we're going to have this pretty much figured out. Get ready for the online concert coming soon, and another one of this as well. Once again, this is your boy Eric Roberson. That's Aaron Harden, and this was the first songwriting session for the Process members. Get ready for part 2 in about 2 or 3 weeks from now. All right. God bless you guys. You guys take it easy. And what I'll do is I'll repost this on the Process page as just a solid video for you to enjoy as well. All right. God bless. I don't even know how to turn this thing off, so we're just gonna figure that out. All right. God bless. Peace. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's see. Let's try here. Nope. Try here. Nope. Try here. Nope. Let's close that. Here. Hey.